Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the daily live extra. Rafa Benitez has just had his press conference ahead of tomorrow's game against Southampton. It was a bit of a weird one because he really wasn't giving anything away on anything really. He is that kind of guy. He is that kind of manager. Doesn't want to give too much away. Certainly before the first game of the season, he was asked pretty much straight off the bat about James Rodriguez, saying he wasn't available, but didn't really give any more information. And then when he was pressed on that, he basically said that he had or he was isolating, which is quite interesting considering that he was with Yerry Mina this week. But apparently him and he is one of 5 players who are not available for tomorrow. None of the other players were named in there. Again, keeping things pretty close to his chest. So we're just going to have to wait and see. We're going to have to wait and see who's available. He did say James Rodriguez. He did say, Richarlison and Dominic Calvert-Lewin were available. He spoke about, Richarlison, what happened to him in terms of coming back, going away, coming back, managing him. So yeah, it was an interesting press conference. As I said, giving nothing away. He was asked about the situation with transfers, and as I say, didn't really go into it. Wouldn't said there was plenty of time left with the window. He's just one of those fellas who. He's just one of those fellas who just doesn't give anything away. I mean, you wonder why sometimes he even does a press conference. To be honest, to be honest, just seems pointless. Sorry, I'm just turning my mic down. Yeah, you do wonder why sometimes he even holds a press conference. But there you go. So no James Rodriguez. The Goodison faithful will still not have seen James Rodriguez, and you start to wonder whether we ever will see James Rodriguez, because clearly the manager doesn't get on with him, or doesn't like him, or doesn't like his style of play. And that's up to him, isn't it? At the end of the day, that is up to him. If he doesn't get on with him, or he doesn't like the fact that he's not a hard worker, then what can you do? What can you do? It's a different style. Carlo Ancelotti let him get away with a lot. Rafa Benitez wants a team ethic, and I think that's actually spot on. I think it's important to have players who are better than other players, but they all must be pulling in the right direction. And I also think that the guy who is the main player should be the example that you set for everyone else. He should be, the main player at any team should be pulling their weight more than anybody else. I mean, Rafa Benitez, when he was at obviously when he was at like the likes of Chelsea, would have had John Terry. Liverpool, he had Steven Gerrard, and that they've got to be the main guy. And listen, we don't know what's been said behind closed doors. We don't know between James Rodriguez and Rafa Benitez. Rafa Benitez might have just asked of more of him. to be honest. And if he's sort of unprepared to give more, then we've got a problem from the start. Mike says, what do you make of the newly mentioned FFP salary cap rules published in the in the media? How do you think this affects Everton getting what they want? Does this lighten our restraints or worsen them? I think the new FFP, Mike, rules they're talking about would really help us. Salary cap would and not fines but limitations. It's called a luxury tax. I think they have it in baseball in America. If you go over it, you have to pay a certain amount, and I think clubs try and stay below that because of how much it is. I think anything would help us at the moment rather than this current system. This current system's not fit for purpose. We've been saying for ages, and on the show we've been saying for a long time there should be a salary cap in terms of what the club can spend, not what a player can earn, but what the club can spend annually. Because it's a farce. This system is a farce that they've got at the moment. When a club like Manchester United can be hundreds of millions in debt and yet not fall foul of FFP, but Everton spend more money than they earn over 3 years, are in, do fall, then we've got a problem. We've got a problem straight away, and that needs to be rebalanced, and hopefully these new FFP rules will rebalance it. Adam Hockenberry says, if there is a bid for James, he must be sold. His wages are huge, and it'll only get harder to move a team to player. Rafa is right. Well, if there is a bid, then the club have got to do what's right for them. If Rafa Benitez does not want James Rodriguez and there's a bid for him, then Everton should sell him. I know I love James Rodriguez. I think he's an incredible footballer, but the club have to do what's right for them, and I don't know what the situation is. I don't know what's been said. I just know that the manager wants 100% out of all the players, and if anyone has fallen below that mark and is surplus, then they must be sold. Someone asked him the question in the press conference. Should he be played? Would you because he's liked by the fans? It's like, no. The manager has got to see that the player wants to play, wants to stay, wants to work hard, wants to be fit. So, you're absolutely right. If the club have made a decision and they're backing the managers from the start, which they should be, then that's the top and bottom of it. Rafa Benitez would have to be sold. James Rodriguez would have to be sold. Let's dig out some of your comments. I get the general feeling that a lot of people are just not excited for tomorrow. That's what it seems like to me anyway. A lot of people are just not excited about the match and getting back to Goodison, even though we all should be. Really. Mick Flynn says, iPad, I think I've succeeded the problem scene. I pick a Rafa and noticed training top, initials RB. Maybe Machiri thinking the problem he sorted the situation for a right back. Okay, Mick. RTO2 says, would Trippier, Coutinho, Pulisic, Ziyech, Hudson, Odoi and Barkley be a good ending to this? No, why do people want Coutinho? I don't even understand why anyone wants Coutinho. I don't get that. He hasn't done anything for 3 years. I don't get why anyone would want him. A right back would be a good end to it, as far as I'm concerned. But I don't know why people want someone like Coutinho. That's where we've been getting into trouble by bringing in people like that. James Dunlap says good news about Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison. Yes, that is good news that they are available and can play. That's a great bonus going into the game tomorrow. Gives us our straight off the bat. It gives us our platform to get the goals, which is what you need straight away. Oliver says, hi guys, just asking why Man City are allowed to spend 300 million on players while we can't afford the sausage roll. Well, they make money. It's as simple as that. These clubs make money. They bring money in and that balances up their FFP. Simple as that. They got to the Champions League final and won the league. That's why they can spend money. The simple fact of FFP is, if you make money, you can spend money. We don't make money. We've been in debt the last 3 years. Therefore, the rule says you can't spend the money. What Man City have got into trouble for in the past is breaking those rules, but breaking those rules in a way where they've inflated their sponsorships and said we're getting this much from this company and that much from that company, or the companies were owned by the same people who own Manchester City, so a massive sponsorship deal or a massive stadium naming deal, which we've been accused of with the USM stuff and the stadium stuff, and so. But hopefully it gets ripped up. Hopefully it does, because it's nonsense. Crispy Sudden Comfort says, I'm applying to go on the waiting list for the season ticket. It's asking for a customer number. Where would they find this? Well, if you've ever bought anything, or if you've ever bought tickets, you will have been given a customer number. So if you can log into the Everton website and go into the ticketing part, you should have a ticketing number there. So if you've ever bought something off Everton, a ticket, you should have a customer number if it's in your name. Chris says, is self-isolation the new excuse for I don't want him near the squad? Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Maybe that's exactly what it is. I think the manager's pretty much made his feelings known on the player. I don't think anyone can deny that. I think we're all aware now. Michael says, is it me, or are the players in isolation the ones he's trying to get rid of? I don't know, because I don't know who is. I don't know who is in isolation. Matt says, did Rafa say Keane and Gbamin were unavailable? I honestly don't know who he said was unavailable. I know he said James, but he didn't really say who else was. I don't think he said whoever. And he mentioned a couple of things, but didn't really say who was not available. He just said 5 players were not available because they were isolating. Kevin says, if we don't spend any money and finish, say, 7th this season, would we be able to spend next season? Yeah, I mean, as long as we don't go mad this summer, if we haven't sold people, yeah, we should be fine next season. Or if they change the FFP rules, we should be fine next season. It's not even the FFP rules; it's the P&L rules. It's the Premier League. It's the Premier League rules. They're the problem, and they'd probably change if FFP rules changed. So, Remy Spoon says nobody's rushing to buy James. You're absolutely right. So what does that tell you? Matt says, who are the 5 players? I don't know. Two players on the bench coming right up. Well, there's 9. You can have 9 subs, can't you, tomorrow? So there probably will be 2 subs on the bench. Chris says, I would, if I was Rafa, I'd just be honest about James. But how can you be? Because if you're trying to sell him and he's an asset, then how would you ever get the money for him if everyone knows that you don't want him? How would you ever get the value for him if everyone's like, well, you don't want him, so we'll give you 2 million quid for him or something? Matt says, weird Richie isn't isolating given he was just flown in from Japan. Well, he was in a bubble, I would imagine, because he was at the Olympics. So if they've tracked him all the way from here to there, maybe he falls within the guidelines. The fact is, I don't even know what the guidelines are now, so he might be double jabbed. James says, I'm excited going back to Goodison. I'm not super excited of the season in general, but I want to watch football again. Yeah, that's a good attitude to have. Just go in, being excited to be at the ground, being excited to watch football, and see what happens. Listen, it's going to be a long season. It's going to be a tough season. We know that. There's a lot of teams in and around us in the Premier League. We aren't the 7th best, or we aren't whatever. We're in a mix of 5 or 6 other clubs now, maybe more. We're trying to get a European place, and it's going to be hard. It's going to be a tough season, really is. As long as it's not like last season with all those home defeats. Mr. Dorset, to be fair, if Rafa only wants players who are committed, then that's fine by me. How many times have we complained about players not giving 100% every time? Actually being impressed with this presser. Absolutely. I feel like that as well. I feel like I just want committed players now. I want good players, but I want good players who are committed. And if players are not fit enough or are not willing to do the hard work the manager wants, then who are we to argue with the manager, no matter who he is? I've seen a few people say, if this had been like, if the manager was saying the same things about like a Wobie or Delph, we'd be backing the manager. And I know the difference is they're not good players and James Rodriguez is, but surely without commitment, you're not really going to get anything. You know what I mean? You're not going to get, if you haven't got a player who's prepared to be just fit for you, then what's the point? People saying Gabaman is available. I'll double check that for the News Daily. I'll make sure when I do the News Daily later, I'm all confirmed. I've just literally watched it and come and done this straight away. James doesn't show any commitment. Get him off the wage bill and bring someone else in. That's from Andy. Ollie says, I hope Delph is self-isolating. Or says, hopefully start the season with a winning start. Vaughan says, can't wait to be back tomorrow and seeing old faces crossed. They are all right. Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Just getting back into the ground. The people you sit round who you don't know, you don't really know. You might know the name of them, and you might see them every other week at the match for years and years, and you might just be like a Facebook friend at most. And tomorrow, you get back to sitting next to them, and I know for me, there's people who sit next to me, and their kids won't be kids anymore, even though it's only been 18 months and things like that. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Mick Flint says, spot on. Ped top wages should bring top effort and skill. Absolutely. Kevin says, Ped, any news on money we're supposed to be getting in? Would this help some players? And the money is just money from the Premier League, money we would expect, and I think people just made a big headline from it. It was in the old days said that Everton would buy in the second half of August because that's when they had the Premier League money. That's when they had the TV money in the bank. I don't know whether that's changed now because of FFP. In then days, that was the only money we had. Now we are literally it. You've got to think about FFP as literally like you've gone over your overdraft, or you want a loan, and you can pay that loan back, but the bank won't give you it because you've got a terrible credit history. That's the way you got to think about FFP. You've got money to pay the loan. The bank just be like, no. Matt is sitting the Gladys Street. That was Matt M. Matt S says biggest issue is if Hammers doesn't get a club, it's going to be a big mess. Eugene said cars introduced in FIFA 22 when it comes out. I wouldn't buy FIFA 22 if it had me in it. Horrendous game. Barry says, Rafa said 2 out of 3 were self-isolating, out of Gabam, Keane and Gomez. So it was Kim and Keane last week, so I reckon Gabam unavailable. Bobby says if Iwobi starts tomorrow, I'll give up. I've heard enough. Why are people talking about spiders in the comments? What's all that about? Stop talking about spiders. What else have we got? We'll do another... What time are we on now? Do another 5 or 6 minutes or so, because I've got to go and get my hair cut. You know what I mean? Toffee says, Ped, do you think Gaultier can get the best out of Snidlin? I don't know, and I don't care. Hopefully we will have a few smart loans up our sleeve before the window shuts. That's point. Josh. Andy Johnson says, any chance? And Andy, we have a fantasy league. It's on our Discord, but you have to be a patron. I can't be bothered setting another one up. There's one in the patron group on Discord, so if you become a patron. Vaughan says, I've took a COVID test for the game tomorrow. Do you think it's guaranteed we'll have to get stopped and show proof? No, I think it's random, isn't it? Isn't it random spot checks? I think it's random, but just be prepared. Just be prepared to show them. Alan just says no one is running to sign anyone that's really high wages. Look at the players at Barcelona. No one wanted them either. No one's buying anyone apart from. No, I'm not going long on my hair. I'm going to get a cut. Sod that. And I'm booked in anyway. No one's buying. No one's buying players. People are buying at the top end, and that's it. I've just the Piv literally just sent me something before, saying no one's buying it. Like none of these little 5, 6, 7, 8 million pound deals that go through that are the essence of all over Europe that keep it all going. The transfer stuff going. No one's buying anyone, so no one's looking at a player and going, "Oh, I'll have him for 5 million quid or 6 million quid." So players like Delph are not going anywhere, and then that doesn't free up your wages. So we're stuck with these players. It's as simple as that. We're stuck with them for another year. Sadly, for most of them anyway. Unless we can getting someone off Bernard off the wages is a huge thing for us. We need more like that. Karlak says, what do you think about the Corey playing attacking midfield? Well, he is an attacking midfielder, isn't he? And that's where he needs to play and get the goals. Yeah, make sure you've had a test for tomorrow. Chris says, Ped, if you had the chance between playing a game for Everton and having a small part in an Avengers film, which would you pick? Someone asked me this the other day. It was like, would you rather Everton win something or be in an Avengers film? I was like, Everton win something? Of course Everton win something, because I quite happily enjoy films without me being in them. In fact, every film I've ever watched, I wasn't in, and I still enjoyed them. So, of course, Everton to win every time. Everton to win every time. Whether it be watching or playing. Vaughan says, Delph hat-trick tomorrow, do you hear it first? Who's that? Shemi Charmed Life says, Indiana Jones has snakes, so give Ped his spiders. I haven't got a problem with spiders. I'm just wondering why you're talking about them in the comments. Just wondering why, we have certain shows where we talk about random stuff, but, back for Benitez has just held his first press conference and you're talking about spiders, you weirdos. By the way, we've got a new game called Ultimate Fan. It's an app. It's free, right? And I'll get it here on my phone. It's called Ultimate Fan, and it's like one of those card games, like FIFA, the Ultimate, and it's like fantasy football. It's free to play, right? There you go. Just logging in here. So basically, it's free to play, and what you get is You get packs of players, and then with the packs of players, you create a fantasy football team. Like, I think it's 6 players, and then so that's my team. That's my team. Oh, you can't see because of the you can't see because of the green screen. So you get a pack. So the first week's pack is like that, right? So they're like, you get like 2 extra players. You get 6 players in a team. So you got to put 6 players in a team, and you get a couple of subs, or you get more than a couple of subs, and you got to name one the captain, and you got to name one who's the golden boot, and then every week you'll get more packs, so you'll build better players. So, but there's a free version, there's a silver version, and there's a gold version. Silver version you get more better players. Gold version you get even better players. And that's the new game we're going to be playing. There's a chance to win £15,000 with it. And you get some like freebies, like a crate of beer and stuff like that from Beer 52. So it's absolutely free. So if anyone wants a little fantasy football game, you play weekly and you build up, and it's like the card games you get on like the Ultimate thing on FIFA. Get that Ultimate Fan. It's an app. It's an app. We've gone up a little bit. It's an app, and you can get it on. You can get it on Thingo, iPhone and Android. Andre says no one will pay what Everton wants for James since they already know they don't want him. This is why Milan is waiting. They know Everton will have to give him a go on a free transfer. I don't think we will give him a go on a free transfer, to be honest. I just don't think other teams want him because they know what his wage demands are. Simple as that. Blue Nose Banana says, let's get behind Rafa tomorrow. We can't start off being negative. Yeah, once people get in the ground tomorrow, I think they'll get positive. Barry says no, Vestergaard for tomorrow is good. Yeah, he's going to Leicester. There you go. So, Eugene says, I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin got a hat-trick for Everton against Southampton. That's nice. That's positive. That's good. That's what we want to hear. He'll be back, and he'll be chomping at the bit to play and score. And Dib Rogue Trader says, sorry Peb, missed what you said earlier. Do you believe Moise Keane and James? Well, James is 100% self-isolating. Moise Keane has been self-isolating. So, and there's been no sign of him in the training pictures. Terry says, interesting that he said that we had improved the fitness of the players by quite a lot. That is interesting, isn't it? Keith Powell says, go get Dallet. Marcel with an option to buy. Yeah, why not? Gaz says the questions were terrible. I thought he answered terrible questions. Well, if I'm honest, James is a fantastic player, but he's lazy. He's in the wrong place. Sad though, it is. Problem with those press conferences with the Zoom is you can't really build up a thing, can you? You know, and understand them. Where people come in every week. You do the press conference. You get to know them. You get to talk to them. And Rafa will know most of these anyway. The way they do it at the moment is rubbish, really, because of the Zoom. I don't know how long that's gonna be in for. I mean, it might be in forever. Clubs might prefer it like that. I don't know. Where me Spruce says, stop going on about spiders. Come on, you Blues. Says Southampton missed and lost quite a lot of players. We should be all right tomorrow. First day of the season is always a little bit bizarre. I never underestimate anyone first game of the season because it's mad. Connor says, with Benitez saying 5 players are out, do you think youngsters like Dobbins will get some game time? No, but he might get on the bench. Ollie says, the one thing I noticed last season was that the players' fitness was poor. It was poor. It was also it was, yeah. No, but we know first game of season can always be it can throw up some mad results. Matt says, are the ones isolating The ones who are leaving. Maybe. Glenn. Well, you spelt my name wrong for a start. If we bring in no new players, and you were offered 7th place in the Premier League tomorrow, yes, I would, mate. I would. I'd probably take 7th no matter what, mate. I'd take 7th no matter what. Are the parking gates closed tomorrow due to the change room? Yes, if you're going in the parking, you have to go in via the family enclosure. Tosback Pez, I really liked the way you described. Too bad you have no faith in Everton winning anymore. I don't have any faith in Everton winning anymore. Because how can, I don't know how anyone can when you're watching a team like Man City go and spend 100 million on a player. Football is just, it's absolutely berserk, and we don't, we're not doing our bit to help, are we? So it's really hard. So I have no expectations anymore, none whatsoever. And people are like, oh, that's sad, but I just don't. I just don't have any expectations for Everton to do anything. I'll just turn up and see what happens, rather than have any hope. It is what it is. Olsen says, do you think Dom and Richie will both start? I do. I think they'll both start tomorrow. Richie on the left, Dom up front. I'll do my starting 11 later. Do my starting 11 show later. Yeah. Right, I'm going to go because I've got an appointment. I'll be back at 5 o'clock for all our patrons. And I'll be back later to do the starting 11 and the news. So thank you to everyone for watching, and I'll see you later.